This is not the Spider-Man story you're familiar with, but we'll go with it. Meet Rick, or, well, don't meet him if you're his classmates who seem allergic to eye contact. Rick was late for school, sprinting after the bus with a face as red as a ripe tomato. Just as he reached the door, his day took a slapstick turn. He stumbled right into a stop sign, then another one, and finally, like a cherry on top, the bus door smacked him for good measure. Smooth entrance, right. The moment he stepped inside the bus, a wave of indifference hit him. No one wanted to share a seat, not even the unpopular crowd. At last, he spotted his buddy Trey, who at least tolerated his existence. As Rick chatted with Trey, he couldn't help sneaking glances at his crush, Jill, who sat across the aisle, cozied up next to her boyfriend Lance. Trey rolled his eyes, reminding Rick that he didn't belong to the cool crowd. According to Trey's school-based caste system, Rick wasn't even close. On a class trip to a genetic research lab, Rick had another chance to embarrass himself. He spotted Jill chatting to a genetically modified bird. Yeah, that's a thing. And tried to impress her with some awkward small talk. That didn't work, so he whipped out his phone for a quick snap of the bird. Unfortunately, he forgot about the lab's no-flash rule. The camera flashed, the bird combusted in a puff of feathers, and Jill's eyes darted to the fiery mess. Thankfully, everyone seemed more concerned with the flames than Rick's clumsy attempt at flirtation. Still, Rick did his best to put out the fire, but managed to throw the flaming feathers straight at Lance. A scuffle broke out, with Lance ready to deck Rick until a powerful hand intervened. It was Uncle Lou, the CEO of the lab. Lou's grip cooled the situation down, though Rick couldn't help noticing the bloody cough that followed. Lou assured Rick it was the good kind of blood before awkwardly inquiring about Rick's family. When Rick shared that his parents had passed, Lou's smile turned somber. Still, it seemed like he knew something Rick didn't. The tour continued, and Rick found himself in a new exhibit showing off genetically altered super dragonflies. One particularly rebellious dragonfly buzzed away from the display, flew right over to Rick, who was wrestling with a raccoon for reasons unknown, and bit him. With a bite like that, who needs radioactive spiders? After dragging himself home, Rick wasn't feeling so hot. His uncle Albert reminded him to feed the fish, but Rick was too busy retching into the tank. Fish food of a different kind. Collapsing in bed, he half listened as Uncle Albert read him passages from a book about puberty, or what he thought was puberty, until he realized it was a guide to, menstruation. Meanwhile, back at the lab, Uncle Lou faced his board of directors, who were skeptical of his latest project. Lou reassured them he'd fix everything